Hey, how's it going? Hey, great to be back. If you didn't check it out last ep, I did a really cool interview with Bootstrap 17, aka Devin Brock. Devin, thanks for taking the time to meet with me. Um, that was just an organic thing. I come on here, I troll people's poetry. If I like it enough, might give it the gold. Never knew Devin, never met Devin. No connection, no back channel. Just liked his stuff, gave him the gold. We talked, got him on the channel. You can go and do likewise. I'm happy to meet new people. Meeting Devin has been truly a privilege for me. Getting to talk about his poetry. I didn't know he had published poetry. I didn't know he was out there trying to hustle and make this whole thing work. I had no idea. Super impressed though. So, excuse me. Yikes! I guess I should be careful with the seltzer. So yeah, you guys can this is open to all folks. I really hope that the next person I get to join me and video it up, perhaps isn't a male person, and we get some other types of folks on this community involved and hanging out. So let's see where this goes. We have a lot of stuff to do, and people might think, hey, it kind of must suck being that P head Max, trolling people's poetry. People probably hate on him a lot, probably think he's a sinky head for dissing people and disrespecting people's stuff. And they'd be wrong, because this is the most fantastic, fun thing to do in the entire universe. Yeah, I might dunk on some people every once in a while, but only the people who deserve it. Come on. All right, let's get going here. So, let's see what we got. We're going to look at two sonnets to start it off. Sonnets are a special area of affection for me. Many people may know that. So I love me some sonnets. We're going to look at a sonnet by Corellians, who's super hip dude. I know Corellians is working really hard, firing on all cylinders. Love to hear from you, my friend. We got one actually from Bootstrap 17, dropped a sonnet in. So we're going to look at both of them. Let's start with Corellians here. I Know She Lies. That's a good title. I dip my pen in ink and ink your name in copper plate along my skin. Not sure what the copper plate is, but okay. And hold my breath, imagine you there. Full stop. Your lame, inconspicuous smile touching my old, but true heart with the slightest light of love. Exhaling, I just cap my pen and stare at how the letters melt to thin tears of disappointment. To see but not bear the fading ghost of memory. When I recite your poems all alone, I count the ways. Your words became a way of lying to me on some wholly absurd account that you, my only love. Okay. So let's we almost got there, guys. So I dip my pen in ink and ink your name. So immediately I think of Sir Philip Sidney wrote this sonnet. He wrote a series of sonnets, Astrophil and Stella. There's this famous line in there. The speaker's trying to figure out something to say, right, to convince and tell his love to the beloved. And there's that open your heart and write ending to that sonnet. And this very much echoes that. I think that this first stanza, I dip my pen in ink and ink your name, that's perfectly iambic and copper plate along my skin and hold iambic my breath and imagine you there, your lame. My breath and imagine you there. There's a little bit of an inversion there, but that's fine. I think inconspicuous might be tough. Inconspicuous smile touching my old. That's the correct number of syllables, but I think it's probably a triple beat there. But true heart with the slightest light of love. That's iambic. So if we look on that third line of the octave, you're lame. So it's a little bit conspicuous to have this stop after the fourth foot, and then have that last foot, you're lame, kind of dangle there like that. Not saying that that's impossible, but look at the this line here. This doesn't work. At how the letters melt to thin air of. So this is an unstressed syllable. So you're ending a line without a stress, which is technically called a feminine ending, which you could do if you add an extra syllable. But it's very rarely would you end with an of in a sonnet. So perhaps in blank verse, you might be able to get away with that under some circumstances. But I think it's just too weak a line ending. I have another feminine ending here, lying. So typically, again, you would need an extra syllable. The ways your words become your way of lie. Okay, so that's actually correct. So that's an extra syllable there for the ing. The ways your words become your way of lie. So yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so that is a feminine ending there. I think you're pushing your luck a little bit with those feminine endings, but okay. The bigger issue beyond the technicalities, I think, Corellians, is the volta. So you see how Corellians just blows right through the octave here into the sestet, to see but not to bear, the fading ghost of memory. So the fading ghost of memory isn't bad in terms of something to open up the sestet with, because we want to pivot to reflection in the after the observation of the octave. So we're definitely doing that. But I don't know that it doesn't really just kind of continue to narrate the action of the octave. I mean, is there really that much different tone or different perspective that we go into with the octave? So the all alone, sure, but I mean, he's already all alone, or the speaker's already all alone in the opening. I dip my pen and ink your name. So how could you do that around someone else? I mean, that probably is something you do on your own. I cap my pen and stare at how the letters melt. And then in the sestet, we're basically doing the same thing. We're counting. So before, you're staring at how the letters melt, and then the sestet, I count the ways your words become your way of lying. So I just don't think that there's a significant tonal difference between the sestet and the octave, which I think is not every single sonnet ever does that. And there's certainly some sonnets that don't have a very significant volta. But I would think that would be something you would want to pursue when you're kind of cutting your teeth and trying to bone up on your sonnet game. Let's have a look at Bootstrap 17. Inhabit this house the way the dead inhabit this house. So just a little background here. So we just tell this is not going to be a rhymed sonnet. In gestures, the switches and elbows, these hinges loose and oiled, these knobs licked by by a century of hands. I shuffle as she, as he, as they, as them from room to room in the worried paces of the floorboards. It's a little awkward, as she, as he, as them. Okay. I love the worried pace of the floorboards, though. That's really strong. With a bundle of logs at the fireplace, I strike the same match twice. That's good iambic pattern there. As ash siphons. So you see how the cadence wants to be as ash siphons, which doesn't so that it's not the correct place for the syllable. I strike the same match twice, as ash siphons. So again, it's another of these feminine endings. Now, it's already kind of blank verse here for Bootstraps. So, you could just say this is kind of more towards a free verse style. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want, right? There's no rules. Not anymore. I mean, there used to be. But if you're trying to get an iambic line and you end with a unstressed syllable, it's kind of tough. Through the gate. Through the grate. So that's a triple there. Through the grate I warm myself. No, that's okay. Through the grate I warm myself till sunrise. That's fine. As frost tips the roofing nails, planks heave. So again, this is another continuing the kind of observation that happens in the octave. We're going to continue that in the sestet. Now, here you guys are going to find tons of successful published sonnets that do seem in some way to continue the action of the octave. So I'm not saying you can never ever do it. And, you know, I think there's probably a lot going for this poem. I'm just indicating typically the way I was taught by the great Bill Knott was that you really do need a very deliberate break and pivot. Now, we do have this nice full stop here, which is great. I warm myself till sunrise. And then I guess the octave, the break between the octave and the sestet here is now maybe it's dawn. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. As frost tips the roofing nails, planks heave upstairs. As the radiators tick and pound, the bodies warm in the. That's not. And pound their bodies warm in the curtains. That's not really iambic. Drawn and undrawn, paint over paint. Again, so a lot of departures from the iambic line here, and you know, no problem. I mean, that's what Bootstraps wants to do. It's totally his prerogative. It's not going to doom this poem. I personally would feel if I, and I'm not, but if I were an editor reviewing this poem for potential publication, I'd be like, well, you know, you can't have it both ways. You could make a free verse sonnet, make a blank verse sonnet. Or you could make a traditional sonnet. And this is kind of much more toward the blank verse side, almost completely blank verse. But then why not avail yourself of of free verse. So blank verse, guys, is when you have iambic pentameter that's unrhymed. That's blank verse. Free verse, obviously, there are no rules. You don't have to be iambic at all. This is kind of somewhere close to blank verse at times. But doesn't avail itself of all the freedoms of free verse. So that's not getting meaningfully to the content of this poem. I think the content of this poem has some interesting things going on in it. This description of this house and this kind of not exactly 100% sure what's going on. Exactly. So there's I think the speaker's talking about their own relationship to the house and as a kind of a proxy for their separation or alienation from that kind of more conventional love and intimacy with their wife, because, you know, obviously husband and wife, you want to picture them ultimately in the bed, getting down to conjugal duties. In this sonnet, that doesn't happen. Instead, there's these other mechanical actions of the house and the house and the pacing and all of these, and the fireplace and the striking the match and these other things that are kind of orthogonal to getting dirty in the bedroom, but aren't really the same. I don't know. I guess that's sort of a Freudian interpretation here, but hey, I'll leave the full interpretation to others. I would push or put to Bootstraps here, you know, kind of make your bed and sleep in it type of thing. You could profit from a deeper investment in trying to write correct sonnet if you wanted to. But there's no requirement to do that. This poem could also benefit from a loosening of its shackles, going the other direction and seeing if it becomes more expressive or more uninhibited in its potentialities, pushing a different direction. I love some of the imagery. All right. So that's our sonnet drag race. You know, I don't see a clear winner here exactly. I mean, we know Bootstraps well. I think his ability to insinuate is very strong. Corellians really wants to learn how to write a sonnet. So I urge Corellians to keep trying, keep plugging away. Try to make a really crisp break between that octave and the sestet. Try not to continue any of the action or any of the narration of the sestet, of the octave when you switch the sestet. Try to switch to a more philosophic or contemplative mode where you're not observing closely and describing in the sestet. Save that for the octave. Now, there is some close description, but it's a little repetitive in your octave. Now I know there's 8 lines, which is plenty of lines. So sometimes people are like, well, I did my description. Now where do I go? So there could be some rhetorical balance where you hem and haw a little bit in your octave would be a conventional approach. You describe this thing, or maybe it could be a little bit more of that thing. And by kind of oscillating a little bit, you create this possibility, this dramatic opening for then the sestet to be like, it's neither of those things, or it's really this thing, or it was always this all along. And try to draw those conclusions as sharply as possible. Also, Corellians here is using the Shakespearean style or the English sonnet with a couplet at the end. Highly recommend against that. I highly recommend go for the Petrarchan, where your sestet is 2 sets of 3. Rather than a set of 4 and a set of 2. I think the English is more difficult to achieve. It's easier to write. It's harder to master. Better off going with the Petrarchan. All right, let's switch gears a little bit here. We have, okay, but first coffee. I just stumbled upon this poem. I thought it had its moments. I think I might have put a comment or 2 on it. We can wade into it. All right, so it's just called 13. I'm not or 23. I'm not sure why it's called 23. Maybe they're writing a series. So I would think if you're going to take the trouble, put it on Reddit, give it a title that helps people. But okay, whatever. Half a bottle of Chardonnay and 3 cigarettes to forget a face you had touched only once, which is to say, to get even with history. Love how it's only, someone commented below, only half the bottle. It's just 3 cigarettes. So the forgetting, this is a person who could forget easily. They should have told you, a little late to introduce they, but okay, it takes more than that to learn that a story untold, the absence of a memory, the vague fragments of a stranger's body weigh the heaviest. Could end there. To learn there's nothing to be retrieved from an empty grave. So you could definitely end just cut this part. It's not really super necessary. I like this poem. I love the opening, half a bottle of Chardonnay and 3 cigarettes, and then to forget a face. This is just a very strong opening, very economical, fantastic work. I think that this middle stanza here could probably be tightened a little bit. We have absence of memory, vague fragments, stranger's body, weigh the heaviest. It's a little cumbersome, but okay. Let's see. I weighed it in here. Oh yeah, Boots had pointed me to this poem. So I heard some Shakespeare 87. Here, so that's a reference people could look at. Sonnet 87. Speaking of sonnets, there's something a little bit sonnet-like about this because it's this simple comparison. The speaker and the beloved, and that's it. All right, Charnock Drop. This is one of these like drive-by chats where someone came in and they chatted with me like, hey man, hey brah, or whatever, like, I don't know if this is what you're looking for. It's like, I gotta tell you guys, I'm not looking for anything. I'm either looking for stuff that's going to be fun when I rip it, or I'm going to look for stuff that's really good. Don't ask me what I'm looking for. I'm looking for your best stuff. If it's not your best, it better be comically bad. It's sometimes funny when people think that their stuff is good and it's not. That's sometimes funny. So let's see here what we got. Yeah, come correct in the chats, guys. I mean, this takes me some time and effort, and it's not like it's not like I begrudge it or mind it. This is fun. This is party time. But yeah, it is the case that I also teach a workshop. My time does have value. Everybody's time has value. It doesn't hurt to remind one another of that, and be nice. I guess I'm not always nice, so I try to be professional in the chats. Let's put it that way. So here on the channel, I feel some obligation to entertain and be funny and be a little over the top. But I try not to be disrespectful in the chats. Let's put it that way. And I think if we're all, a little bit professional in the chats, maybe that could go a long way. The bond. We stand here hand in hand. Despite the stares, you never look flustered. We stand where? Are they getting married? I try to hold my composure. The anxiety shows. We stick together. Like the cosmos made the choice for us. Don't do that. Do you watch the channel? Chavnik? Do you do that? Have you watched it? Have you seen what I say? Do I ever say that a line like the cosmos made a choice for us is a good idea? Do I? Please tell me where I did that. Where in a previous episode I'm like, yeah, I love it when people use like cosmos and karma and like soul in a poem. I don't. I'm not saying you can never ever do that. And there are certainly many accomplished poets who can. But not you. And not most of the people on Reddit. And I think for the time being, the best advice I can give you is don't do that. Show the reader where we are. We stand here. Where is here? In the fucking cosmos? Because that's not specific enough. It doesn't put the reader anywhere. To tell the truth, I never saw myself with one like you. To tell the truth. Why wouldn't you tell the truth? And if you're not telling the truth, might that be something you would say? I don't know. It's redundant. It's weakening your poem. It's weakening your credibility to say that tell the truth. Maybe you're not telling the truth when you say to tell the truth. So open the poem there. To tell the truth, I'm not sure where we stood hand in hand despite the stares. Only that you certainly didn't look flustered. I don't know. So then you have these, I try to hold my composure, but my anxiety shows. That's repetition. Tell us something once. We already know if you're trying to hold your composure, but poems generally don't say that. Prose says that. I try to hold my composure. You need to show us and evince these emotions rather than just telling us your emotions. You need to embody those emotions in things. That's what Bootstraps is very good at, guys. All right. My favorite part of this poem is I wish Dave would come back. I really need to pee. This is it. This is where I think this poem jumps the shark into I'm being trolled. And I think what's going on is this poet wanted to see me make an ass of myself. Because there's no way that this poem is serious. And maybe Chavnik is a level 50 3D 5D chess mega genius, and I'm the one being trolled. I really need to pee. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Okay. Don't really remember why I saved this. So don't do this, guys. Don't explain your, never, ever, ever explain your poem. Never qualify, never situate it, never do this. I dreamt once that we were human. I don't know why I saved this poem. Maybe to show what not to do. Do you remember when rain washed us away? Did the tides turn against us? Waves pulled us further out, made us wish we were more than ourselves. See, poems need to appeal to primitive parts of us, of our senses, of smells, of touches, things that instantly evoke and transport us, and gain trust from the reader. I dreamt once we were human is an interesting sort of proposal. It's kind of like the Zhuangzi, like Zhuangzi dreamt he was a butterfly. And when he awoke, he exclaimed, am I Zhuangzi dreaming on my butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming I am Zhuangzi? That was written many thousands of years ago. If you're going to build on that or work with that philosophical conceit, the kind of Matrix Reloaded poem, come correct. I mean, I don't know. Nautilus is an ambitious topic. I dreamt once that we were human is an ambitious topic. Do you remember the rain wash us away? That's kind of sensory. Are we supposed to believe as a reader that this poem was written by a shellfish? Because that beggars the imagination. And I don't think readers are generally going to be able to do that. At least not at this point in the development of civilization or our kind of priors of kind of Western civilization. Poems aren't written by shellfish. Datagear. Another DM. So Datagear. Cool emoji icon-y type things. For the many, not the few. What to do of this heart that wants? Now that's a good question. What to do to this mind that dreams? You tell me. This melancholy that sends shivers down my spine. Okay, well, I mean, that's probably been said before. The self that is horrified of this grasp is mine. These subtle signals that it seems I get for those I love to endure, and of a universe unseen yet. So, guys, I'm sure that there's like this anthology of cosmic poetry and cosmic feeling, and the unity of all beings in the universe, and the beginning is the end, and all this other stuff. And there's editors out there who want this and are excited about it. And you do you, but I just get confused because like you guys watch the channel, right? You guys know what I'm looking for, right? I mean, it's not to say like I have like this one narrow band of stuff that I think is good. I don't want to confuse anybody. It's like, if it's good, I think I'll give it a shot. I think my issue is, again, when you're trying to get better at poetry, you need to build your tool set. And you can build your tool set by learning how to write in a way that situates the reader. If you can't do that, and you don't have the skills to do that, it might not be effective for you to try to talk about the very nature and fabric of the universe and like the soul. And I'm in no way trying to gatekeep and being like, well, you can't do that. Of course you can. This poem's already out there. This poem's already there. Nobody's stopping you from putting your shit out there. That doesn't mean I have to think it's good. Especially if I don't get the impression from your writing that you've that you have the humility to apprentice yourself to the discipline, that you've read widely, that you've studied widely, or wildly, that you take this stuff seriously. Melancholy that sends shivers down my spine has been said before. And that's the critical line of your poem, because you just asked 2 rhetorical questions, and you better start fulfilling on those questions that you asked, or you're going to run out of runway. You need to revise this line so that it brings the reader in with novel, provocative, interesting imagery, which this is not. And what do you follow that up with then? This self that is horrified of this grasp is mine. That's interesting to me, Dadager. That's interesting. The self that is horrified of this grasp. It's awkwardly phrased, though. It's very awkward. Well, I could get over some of that awkwardness, perhaps. But this self is horrified of its own grasp. I don't know. This self that is horrified of its own grasp is also myself. That's sort of Whitman-esque. I guess this is kind of this very Whitman-esque poem in a certain way. So, I don't know. Quantum energy. Why do you guys want to be nuclear physicists? Why can't we just be poets? Why do I keep stumbling across these poems trying to fucking split atoms? You know? I mean, these scientists, you know, they do heavy lifting with math and stuff. We don't need to do that. Leave that to them. I'm not saying it's off limits. I'm saying it's just like, how can you add to that discourse meaningfully? All right. Affectionate Hat. I think I like this one. Hat. We sat in the park and you looked like someone I already didn't know. I took your name out of my chest and spread it out on the ground to remind me of who you were. To remind you. I don't need this line. But dead leaves underneath you shifted as though the earth itself, don't take that line out. As though the dead leaves underneath you shifted, calling on its marvelous oceanic plates. I don't know. To pull you away from me, to play into its firm soil. A little redundant in this land of trendy thrift stores. This is totally losing it, man. Totally channel changed. Stay with the emotions. Stay with it. Right back into it here with acid red sunsets and wide alleys with graffiti so luminous that it blinds. Look at that pleasant ending. That's novel. No, I haven't read that graffiti so luminous. I mean, maybe, that's good. I'll give it to you. A lot of really promising stuff, Affectionate Hat. A lot of promising stuff. Maybe a little bit, some repetition here, some tuning, but this is a strong piece. Strong piece. Alain Vital. This is some type of philosophical concept. Again, this is another poem I just stumbled across, and I don't know. No one had commented on it, which is always fucking bullshit, Reddit. This fucking country club clique shit where people comment on poets who they like. Fucking bullshit. Get your shit together, OC. How is this poem not out of any comments? Do you wonder how this guy feels? Or gal, or person, or, feels like shit. Even if you say, like, I read it. Cool poem, bro. Say something. I'm going to do that right now. Hey, I am reading your poem on my YouTube channel. because it's a cool piece and it's dumb that no one else has commented. So yeah, you guys really want to make me mad? Like, there's some poems where it's like Commentville, USA. You know, there's just like comments everywhere. And the poems often suck. Yeah, I'm talking to some of you. Yeah, so listen up. Strike out. You know, support some of these new people too. Fucking click stuff is bullshit. You guys can call me names if you want. Call me this and call me that. But I don't do that stuff. You know? My clique is OCPoetry. And Frohike here is joining my fucking clique as of today. And reaching toward the verse, she fumbles. Not for its words, but for the increasingly finer paintbrush of the unknown. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But that's okay. Limbed, each star underneath it, winking in and out of understanding. I love the use of limbed there, my champ. In the way that matter pulls her fabric toward itself. Yeah, bro, it's like fucking matter pulling itself towards itself, man. It's fucking just so crazy. But it's, you know, it's kind of interesting. She crests the waves of images, man. Received tumbles down their surging side and finds some new effulgence. What makes it through the glut of light that cannot manifest hefts the shore of itself on to the unknown. This isn't really my bag. But it should be a lot of people's bag here on the OC. If you want to do cosmic weirdness, philosophy stuff, maybe take a page out of this guy's book. I don't know where the she went. So the she survives until, I think, here. And I think the she is kind of the key to this poem, because the speaker is clearly talking to about this she. It's not the beloved because it's not a you. So it's a third person stance. It's a little bit more clinical in that way. But we got to keep this she in focus, and reaching toward the verse, she fumbles. Maybe it's an auto. Maybe the writer is a woman, and this is an autobiographical type of ars poetica. So in reaching toward the verse, I fumble, not for words, but the increasingly finer paintbrush of the unknown. So this is an ars poetica then, of increasingly finer paintbrush of the unlimbed, each star underneath it winking in and out of understanding the way that matter. So this, I think, is where I feel like where it's going into kind of overreachville, or jumping the shark a little bit. Toppling sentences under their own gravity. You don't want to enact that in a poem. You don't want sentences to topple under their own gravity while the reader's reading it. You would like something that offers the reader either a sense of they can leap with you from toppling sentence to toppling sentence, or that they're sturdy enough to carry their weight, or that they're unsure which is which. But you don't want to just like knock over your poem while they're reading it and have a collapse on them. I mean, it's not a satisfying experience. We're trying to bring a sense of temporary order or stay against the insanity and the chaos. Just reenacting the entropy of the universe is not sufficient for a poem, because we're already experiencing that in our own fucked up, filthy brains, moment to moment to moment to moment, that life has no meaning, that it's anarchy, that nothing makes any sense. Give us some stay of the execution. Make us believe in some type of order. She crests the waves of images received, tumbles down their surging side, and finds some new effulgence, which makes it through the glut of... So, you know, this is too much of a good thing. But you're promising you're clearly a smart cookie. Yeah, you should be in good company here on the OC. I don't know why you got ignored. Fuck that. All right, poor Augie Carson. We're good buds now. I did a poem of Augie's last time around. I think they're, you know, some type of physician or E-room doctor type of thing. And I always said, write some more stuff. Send me some more stuff. So here we go. Kitchen staff, do you want to watch a porno? Oh, what a great opening. Do this, Reddit. Do that. That's how you open a poem. See how uncomfortable the reader's got to be now? I don't even know if I want to keep reading it. But that's how to do it, because I want to keep reading it, right? I don't know, but I do. He asked, nonchalant. So, okay, he asked, nonchalant as we sat in the Del Rey Motel. Very specific. Someone's either watching the channel or very smart or both. So right there, right, Augie, I love you. I love you. I said it. I love you. Opposite ends of the pull-out couch. Glasses dripping with awkward condensation. You take out that awkward. Why? Don't tell us it's awkward. Show us. Over cheap rye whiskey. Why do we need to know that it's cheap rye whiskey? It's cliche. Why do we even know it's rye? It's pretentious. Just glasses dripping with condensation. Why do we need to know it was poured minutes before? So it's like a hustle? Is that the thing? You get up there and you're getting hustled by this dude? Okay. Plastic gallon jug, divider between us, $10 Berlin wall, not blocking my view of 28 girl on girl VHS tapes, to which he notices my glance, remarks, I'm not a faggot. Well then, Marshall, I don't know why the hell you brought me here with such bizarre entrevue when I could be inhaling nitrous. Okay. Stay focused. Okay? We can't prosecute every possible thing in a poem. We can't do that. The reader is going to get lost. You could talk about issues of sexuality if you want to. You could talk about issues of these mating courtships or struggles and pressures and stress and all these other different things. But you can't necessarily prosecute them all successfully. There's just too much stuff going on. I would get rid of this inhaling nitrous in the walk-in with Benny, slumped in the floor amidst the clam chowder and sous vide emotions we used to stuff. Okay. So I'm going to stop here and say this is promising as hell. It's interesting as hell. And there's this capacity for focus that the opening exhibits. We know exactly where we are. We know exactly the proposal. It's exciting. Stay on target. Stay on track. And you don't need to resolve anything. You can leave it all unresolved. But continue to notch up that tension and give the reader a focused set of issues to chew on. Don't get ADHD on this thing, man. Stay focused right here with this. And really slow yourself down to unpack it. It's going to work out. If you breathe in, fucking savor that rye smell a little bit. Force the reader into that awkward space and don't let them get out of it. I have brown eyes. I remember this poem. I have brown eyes. I have brown eyes, a hue not quite discernible, so what will poets write about me? This is such a good opening, guys. Such a good opening. So it flips the whole fucking premise around, right? What will poets write about me? But you're the one writing the poem. So I love this kind of reclaiming. It's like, you don't get to write about me because I'm writing about you writing about me, so go fuck yourself. I love that strength. Love that kind of take... Bum, 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 bum. Gonna take the power back. See that? So, my brown eyes hold a hue not quite discernible. So what will the poets write about me? Maybe you could tune it a bit, right? So Love that opening. However, I don't really love what you do with that opening. My eyes gave away my soul. Okay, so if you're setting that up as a straw man, that's great. The my eyes gave away my soul, brown as the withering leaves, cliche, I have dead lips. Why would they write that? I don't know, maybe. Crimson clots of blood staining them that taste like rose stems. Okay. These poets write some weird-ass shit with a drop of pigment, drizzling for the petals, thorny, okay. So this is really pushing the absurdity hard. But, I mean, this description's fascinating. Conniving hands, all these mean things poets would say, I suppose. Gosh, are we poets really that bad? Are we, though? Green veins flowing with poison in the bin. Okay, so come on. How do you get out of this? I have brown eyes that speak an ancient language posthumously, yet isn't it ironic under all the cobwebs they glint all the time? Okay. I mean, I don't know why there's cobwebs. I don't know why there's posthumously in here. I don't know why her breasts are ruined. I don't know. I like the opening. I like the conceit. I like the intensity. The intensity of the language is good. There's a lot of good things going on. I just really would see this trap that's set of punishing the poet for their cliches could be heightened a little bit more. Just a little bit tighter focus on this. I want to see the poet reclaim and not kind of back away from that reclamation. Here, I guess, is where the speaker of the poem is going to kind of take the power back. I have brown eyes that speak an ancient language posthumously. I'm not sure that's enough for me. I want to hear more. I want to hear them go a little harder at it. Really dismantle these poets more. I don't know. All right. Last piece. M.T. Stecky. I've done a bunch of their poems before. Extremely talented poet. Again, we have some comments here. Okay, good. Otherwise, I'd be furious again. I'd be just raving lunatic for 5 minutes. Stecky is just a very, very strong poet. Now, we had some DMs, so I know a little bit of backstory. I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to say, like, Promise isn't just like, there's interesting things going on with your stuff. Promise is also like kind of where you're at in the journey, So like, Bootstrap 17, Devin Brock kind of, punched me in the face a little bit. Like, he's kind of lurking on Reddit, just writing some really good stuff. But like Bootstraps has been around a little bit, like not calling you out as like old, because I'm old too, Boots. We're just two old men, cranking out verses. But like we've seen a little bit more of the world. Just how it is. I have 3 kids, like I've seen some shit, and I don't know. I've been writing for a while too. And when you're younger, when you're starting out on your poetry journey, there's kind of different chops. There's different things I look for, pick at. There's not going to be as much restraint. It's just unfair to ask someone who's kind of young on to specialize in kind of restraint or focus in that way. Those things are going to come on their own. You can develop that. Some things can't as easily be developed. I mean, a really good eye for imagery. An ear for making lines, for varying line cadences, for exploiting varied syllable lengths. I don't know. I mean, certainly that can be learned, but when you see that someone's kind of out there doing it fairly well at a younger, with a younger start at it, that bodes well. I don't want to put too much stuff on people. I mean, sometimes people told me when I was young, "Hey, you're really talented this or talented that," and it doesn't really help. That can be a curse too. That can be not such a good thing to have to bear that. Sometimes you want to develop at your own pace, your own way. I just want people to know, it's not all equal. It's not all fair. some motherfuckers just generally really truly do have gifts, and like it's up to all of us to help them make the world a better place. Like that's on all of us as a community to see what we can do to recognize and promote talent at every stage. If we don't do that, if we're just upvoting our friends like a bunch of fucking nincompoops, we're not getting better as a community. You know, we're not finding and celebrating talent. We're not sharpening our swords. We're not offering something unique. We're just offering more mess and darkness. So when I see something good on Reddit, and especially if it's not getting the recognition that I think that it deserves, that's kind of super, super frustrating. That being said, I think this poem does itself some serious, serious disservices in the name of kind of getting itself out there. Atalanta. So that's weird. Atalanta. I don't know what the fuck Atalanta is. Maybe I could Google that. We could do that. Take a Google break, and we could find out it means something profound and specific, and it means I'm stupid that I don't know that. But I think it's safe to say people might think that's a misspelling of Atlanta, or just something weird they've never heard of, or made up imaginary place. So that's an issue. And then the parentheses. Parentheses and titles, it's already putting up this kind of shield, this blocker, this bubble of privacy. So you're privatizing half your title. And what are you privatizing? Race is a terminal cancer diagnosis. What are you fucking doing to your reader? By God, if you're going to write a poem about a terminal cancer diagnosis, why wouldn't you want to be explicit about that? To give the reader a fighting chance, to level set their expectations, to help them frame their mind to go in, to know that you're taking this just as seriously as they're going to have to. Put a subtitle then. You could say an analogy for your fight with cancer. Who is this? Who is Atalanta? Is that a friend, a lover, a dad, son, cousin? We don't know. Poets gain strength through intimacy. A poem for my friend Atalanta. I don't even know how you would say terminal cancer. And then you could say, comma, dying from cancer. Okay? Help us out. Nobody's going to do the work for you. And no one's going to rush in to take on emotionally charged, emotionally difficult things because they're going to say my plate's already full. Especially when they don't know who you are. You know? No one's going to be like, oh yeah, I'll rush into the burning building of like a toxic, horrible death, people dying stuff. Like, I do. Because I'm your fucking Reddit troll. That's what I do. Rush into the burning houses of your fucked up poems, see what I can salvage. So here we go. Mountain contorted, knotted foothill, my running outpaces my jaw. You've got to situate the reader better. You got to tell us who is racing what, because we know this is about cancer. Rowboat left capsized with those great protruding ribs I overpassed by shore. Here in roadside, so start there. Here in roadside midnight, I am antelope, doe, I am hawk, swallow, and blue darkness of dawn. Start with that. Start with, for my friend Atalanta, who races a terminal cancer diagnosis. I overpass by shore here on roadside midnight. Or you are. You overpass by shore here on roadside midnight. You are antelope, doe. You are hawk, swallow, and blue darkness of dawn. Are we? And then it's too late. You can't put Achilles in this late. You can't do that. You can't do that. You got to put that quicker. But you're going to short fucking circuit the reader. You're going to blow them. They're going to be cooked. Don't do that. Like, you're going to put Achilles in this poem as well? Like, you have to tell us why you're going to do that. Achilles didn't have cancer. Achilles died on the battlefield. At Atalanta, races a terminal cancer diagnosis. Like Achilles, I know you wish to die fighting. Overpassing the shore. Like an antelope. Like a doe. You are hawk. But how can you be both the hawk and the swallow? This poet's going to go somewhere, though, so I don't want to put that pressure on you. You're going to go somewhere. You're super, 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 super fucking strong. You're going to be judging the contest that I'm submitting to in 10 years. Tell you that. I'll probably still be here trolling poetry. You'll be collecting your fucking Peggy Guggenheim. Mark my words. This poet is going somewhere most of us can't go. If they train diligently and seriously. These skills can be learned. This is not rocket science, people, right? This isn't nuclear physics. We already talked about that. It's just not. Situate the reader. Give them a favor. Give them some stuff going into this, and they'll work with you. They'll work with you. Stay focused on your objectives. Don't change things up right in the middle. Don't add Achilles at the end. Don't have anyone having to pee. Don't do nitrous with your buddy in the last third of the poem. Don't do those things. Stay focused. Stay focused. Stay on target. We can do this. I had a heckin' good time. It's going to head into the holidays, so we'll see what I can do. We'll see what I can do. Maybe I can make a couple short videos, and stay up on top of stuff. But I love you guys, and hope to hear from everybody soon. Thanks.